Thanks for joining us here at Functional Bliss, where Audra and Jessica will guide you through exercises and wellness techniques to help you live your best life every day. It's in the name after all, Functional Bliss. Before you do anything else, click like and subscribe and ring the bell so you'll know whenever we put up a new video. To join our Blissful Gang for live Zoom classes where you can get more direct suggestions and encouragement, go to our website and sign up. Check the class description below for any equipment needs, grab your gear, and let's get started.
So for the first 30 seconds of work, we're going to start sitting on our butt, bent knee position, hold onto your knees, hold onto your shins, and we're just going to move the spine. So little cat-cow here, round the back and arch the back. And it doesn't need to be extreme, but we just want to get the central nervous system and the spine kicked on, ready to do some work. And then just get that sense here. How is your back feeling? How do your backs of your shoulders feel? You might even notice how your hand grip feels. And then as you're sitting here, think about if we go to this seated position next, where we're sitting in an L shape, if you feel like that sometimes causes you to have a tendency to round the back, then you're going to want to sit on a cushion, or you're going to roll up your mat so it's acting like a little bit of a cushion. All right, now we're going to take it into a halfway roll back. As you halfway roll back, your thighs are going to push out into your hands and your hands are going to resist at your thighs. So we're going to get a little bit of inward outward tension there. Roll back just to the point where you feel your abdominal muscles or your core muscles kick on, and then roll your way right back up and restack the spine. And then as you do this work here, you may get a sense of how are your butt muscles feeling? How does your tailbone feel? What is your energy level like this morning? Since I've noticed in my recordings a couple times when I turn my head a specific way, I lose vocal connection to the microphone. I will occasionally I'll stop and I'll speak out, but you just keep doing your work. Okay, now you're gonna come all the way down to the ground, step your feet slightly wider, take it right into some windshield wipers. Swish your knees from side to side. Legs as wide as you like. So for some of us, legs closer, about hip width distance apart is going to feel good. For some of us, that slightly wider configuration is going to feel good. But all we want to do right now is find a little bit of sense of looseness in the back and a little bit of fluid movement in the hips to just bring that fluidity into the hip joint. One more windshield wiper each way, and then we're going to take, so you may choose to stick with windshield wipers or take it into headband rolls. So you roll to one side, keep your forehead connected to the ground, roll all the way across, and then take that over to the other side. You can skip the headband roll and stay with windshield wipers if that feels like a better place for you to be this morning. But if it feels okay, as you start to roll from side to side, notice, how do your shoulders feel? How does your upper body feel about this work? How does your head and your neck feel? We do have one head and neck exercise today. So if you know that there's anything going on with your head, your neck, cervical spine, you'll leave the theraband part off and you'll just do the work without it. Take a couple more rolls side to side. We got 2 seconds left. And time. Okay, now we're going to flip it around into a tabletop position and we are going to grab our theraband. But if you have any cervical spine stuff going on, any head or neck injury, you may choose to do the work without the theraband. We're going to take our theraband and we're going to tuck it around. You'll either do around the back of the head or at that occipital ridge. So think about where the spine meets the skull. And now we're going to take it down into a low tabletop position. So you're going to go elbows and forearms on the ground. You're going to keep a bit of tension on the back of your head and your neck with your theraband. And then we're going to do like we're doing a little chicken peck. So you're going to pull the back of your head up towards the ceiling and then peck your nose down towards the ground. We want to feel like the muscles in between the shoulder blades and the back of the neck are getting the work. So get your theraband, place it around your head or your neck. You want the theraband to not be catching your hair too much. So place it in a way that makes the most sense to how your hair is positioned today. Come down into that low tabletop, choke up on your theraband, get a little bit of resistance, and then we're just doing a little chicken peck. So we pull the head back and then peck the neck down. We want to try to attempt to keep the belly, the shoulders, and the back half of the body as stable as possible. And most of this work is going to feel like it's coming from the back of the neck and in that space between your shoulder blades. If you get here and the TheraBand creates too much tension or any zinging pain, you're going to leave the TheraBand off and just work without it. You want to keep a slight sense of firmness in your belly so it doesn't feel like you're dropping or slouching in your low back. 20 seconds left. And time. Nicely done. Okay, we're going to move that TheraBand out from around our neck and take it right into a coordinated crawl. So opposite hand, opposite limb are going to move with each other. So let's say left hand, right leg are going to crawl forward, and then right hand, left leg. And then once you find your way to the front end of your mat, you're going to crawl your way back. We want that slow coordinated movement. And then once you know what you're doing, make sure the coordination happens. Double tuck your chin. So we're not going to let the chin or the head peck down towards the ground. Now we're going to keep it nice and secure. And then we're going to move at that nice even pace. Opposite hand, opposite leg, move in coordination with each other. Nice job. You're already halfway there. If this feels like it's not quite enough work, then you're going to curl your toes under and lift your knees and hover. But even with your knees down, you're getting a lot of nice work with the muscles in the back of your body. Nice job. 12 seconds left. All right, sticking with that tabletop position. Now we're going to take it right into our donkey kicks. You can add on, if you want to put your looping resistance band around your thighs, feel free to add that on, but we're going to kick one leg up towards the ceiling and bring it back down. When we do our donkey kicks today, we're going to try to keep the upper part of the body as stable as possible. So we're not trying to round and move the spine. We're trying to move just the leg out of the thigh, or out of the thigh bone out of the hip socket. So we're lifting the heel up towards the sky, bring it back down. We got 30 seconds on this side. As you do this work here, think about pushing with a little bit of intention down into your hands and broaden your shoulders to keep the whole upper body nice and stable. You guys look amazing. Nice job. And we want to watch that head posture. So if you're looking down at your knees, pick your head up. Your gaze should be in between your thumbs and a slight double tuck of the chin. So we keep that whole upper body nice and stable. Beautiful. Switch your legs. We got 30 seconds on the other side. Everything else stays the same. Nice head posture. You guys look amazing. Beautiful work. All right, when you're ready, we're flipping it over onto our backside. Grab your TheraBand. We're taking it with us. We're going to take it into leg circles. We're going to do 30 seconds on one leg, 30 seconds the other leg. So get your TheraBand, come down onto your back. We're going to loop it around the bottom of one foot. I like to hold onto both ends of my band with a single arm and just anchor that elbow down into the ground. But for some of you, it might feel better to do a double handhold. So do the handhold of your TheraBand that feels the best. We're going to push a little bit of energy up into that leg, anchor your arm down, and now we're just going to take that leg and draw it in some circles. If you feel any clicking or catching in your hip, make your circles smaller to start. We're going to go 15 seconds in one direction, and we're going to try to reach through our foot or through our toe to keep that long line of energy nice and intentional all the way down to the end of your limb. All right, when you're ready, reverse directions, go the other way, but the work still applies. We're reaching through the toe, keeping that line of energy all the way down to the end of your limb. Wonderful. Now, the next time that leg circles up towards the ceiling, stay there. Kick your other foot up into the loop and then release your leg nice and long. Once you've got your other leg in, switch your hand grip however you like it, and away we go. Circle that leg, go in one direction for 15 seconds. Keep a little bit of energy all the way out to your toe. All right, and when you're ready, reverse directions, go the other way. Great. Now, the next time that leg circles up towards the ceiling, stay there. We're going to kick our other foot up into our loop. And now we're going to hold on to both ends. So both hands hold on to both ends of your theraband. Pull that theraband down, anchor it down. And now we're going to do little abductions. So we're going to push the blade edges of our feet out into the theraband and then bring them back in with control. Push the blade edges out, push them back in. Keep as much tension on your band as you can stand, even if that means you don't get very far, but you do use good muscle action to find what little movement you can. So keep that tension on. For some of us, it'll feel slightly better to feel like the belly button is pulling down towards the spine. And for some of us, it'll feel perfectly fine to just keep a natural curve of the back. So make sure your back feels slightly supported. Push the legs out and bring them back in with control. And time. Nicely done. Okay, unloop your feet from your theraband. Now we're going to place our feet down on the ground. We're moving into a hip bridge. If you liked the challenge on Friday of having that uneven surface, take the end of your mat, roll it up a bit, and that's where your feet are going to hang out. So it's going to create that little bit of uneven surface for your feet. And then you're going to take your theraband and put a little bit of tension, holding it across the chest. We're going to keep that pulling apart tension, keep the arms up in the air. That's going to challenge the work at the bottom half of the body. And then adding that rolled up, slightly unstable position under your feet is going to help challenge your lower part of the body. Once you've got your theraband, you've got your feet, lift your hips up, lower them with control. If you like working with the breath, you're going to exhale as you lift up and inhale as you lower down. "25 seconds left." And then look at your theraband. Think about the work that you've been doing lately. If you're working with a blue, we're going to start thinking about leveling up to a gold. So let me know if you've got a blue and the blue is becoming just a little too easy. If you're working with a green theraband and the green theraband has become a little easy, we're going to move you up to a blue. If you're perfectly happy where you're at and your theraband's in great condition, then no worries. But if you want to start thinking about leveling up, let me know and I'll send you the new theraband as soon as they get in. Okay, lower your hips down. And now we're going to take it into a dead bug with the legs. Arms are going to be held across the chest. We're going to keep our legs in that dead bug position. And now we're going to take it into diagonal pulls. So one arm is going to pull up, one arm is going to pull down. We meet back in the middle, and then the other arm stretches up and the other arm stretches down. Alternate between the two diagonals. Your legs almost feel like they want to move, but try to keep your legs as stable as you can. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Same deal here. So if you like that little bit of extra support for the low back, it may feel a little bit better to curl up the head, neck, and chest just a bit, or keep the natural curve of your back, or just press your low back into the ground. So always play around with where you feel the strongest and most stable in your work. And time. Nicely done. Okay, set your legs down. We're taking it into our roll-ups. Option number one, roll up with that tension at the chest. You'll use your theraband, a little bit of a tug apart, arms up and overhead. Exhale, and you roll up, reach past your toes. For some of us, it might feel a little nicer to have the theraband looped around the bottoms of our feet, and we work a little bit more intentionally on the roll down and the roll up rather than focusing on the reaching up and overhead or reaching past the toes. So find the place where the work feels like the place where you want to be this morning, whether it's focusing on the roll up and down or the up and overhead reach with that tension. So find the work that you think you like the best, or you could go halfway one way, halfway the other. We got 1 minute on the clock. Take the work at your pace. I like, and the Pilates also agrees with me, that it's an exhale as we roll up, inhale as we lower down, arms reach up and overhead. We're at that halfway point. So if you wanted a little bit of both, feel free to switch. All right, that's time. The next time you roll all the way up, come up, and now we're taking it into a side plank type of position, but we're going to add that little variation. That theraband chicken peck really messed up my little tiny ponytail. All right, so come into a side plank position, but we're going to take that top leg, step it up, over, and across, and now we're going to do our hip dips. So that bottom arm is going to stay in that tall position. You're going to push down into the blade edge of the bottom foot, but you're also going to lift with the side of the ribs. Lift up, get a little side stretch and reach, lower your hip with control. Lift up. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Take the work at your pace. It does not need to be fast for it to be good. We want to make sure that the shoulder that's on the ground, or the grounded hand, we want to keep that shoulder down away from the ear. We want to push with intention into that hand, into the blade edge of the foot. Ribs lift upward, and we keep that shoulder braced and supported, so it's not getting all loosey-goosey as you come down. Keep it strong. Lift up. Awesome. Lower with control. And time. Beautiful job. Okay, we're spinning it around right to the other side. You spin yourself around in the way that makes the most sense to you. Once you're on your side position, top leg steps up and over. We brace that bottom arm shoulder. We think about lifting the ribs, press down into the blade edge of the foot. Lift your hips up, get a little side stretch and reach, lower with control. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Take it at your pace. It doesn't need to be fast in order for it to be good. Nice braced shoulders, man. You guys look awesome. All right, that's time. Now, the next move that we're going to do, it's a mobility drill. So it's a little bit more about how our hips sit. For some of us, sitting in this low squatted position doesn't feel great and your heels need to stay lifted. So if you're one of the friends that has those heels lifted, take your mat, roll it up a little bit, make a little bit of a rolling mound so that your heels can rest on. That way you sit in this low squatted position really comfortably. If your heels rest comfortably, you don't need that rolled up mat. It's a little bit about just the mobility in your ankles and your calves. So find the position that feels good. And then we're just doing some mobility work. So we're stepping the hands behind and stepping the hands in the front. You're moving your spine, you're moving in your hips, you're keeping that deep, low squatted position, which can be good for your hip strength, your hip mobility, but it also may be helpful to digestion. If you tried the rolled up mat under your heels and you're like, that's kind of in the way and it's not really helping, move it out of the way, especially if your heels sit happily on the ground in this low squatted position. There's no right or wrong. And that one is not about having, you won't necessarily be able to break away from that. You might always have that position where your heels just don't happily touch the ground. You're already halfway there. If you're going in one particular direction, you've got one hand leading the charge, maybe switch, reverse, and go the other way. We got 3 seconds left. And then we're taking it into our, what we like to call here, our booty drop squats. So we're going to take it from this low position. You're going to lift your butt up. You might choose to stay just at the bottom portion of this work, lifting your butt and lowering it back down. Or you might want that bigger challenge, lift the butt, lift your hands, lower your butt. Or you might want even more, lift your butt, lift your hands, come all the way up to standing, lower down, lower your hands, lower your butt, or any place in between. So if you'd rather just do the work in standing, you'll stay up. If you'd rather just do the work low, you'll stay low. Or if you want to do all of the work put together, do the work that makes the most sense to you this morning. Nice job. You're already halfway there. All right, the next time you come up to standing, come all the way up. Woo! Those are no joke. All right, come on up, shake your hips out. And now we're gonna take it into a slight bit of dynamic work. So we're gonna go for a rear lunge and touch the ground. So you're gonna alternate between legs. You're gonna reach down, touch the ground, switch to the other side. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Take it at your pace. You can go fast, get your heart rate up, get a little cardio. You can go slow, work on that precision and balance because you're finding that single leg work, holding on to that strength in your muscle, touching down to the ground, coming up slow. So find the depth of work that makes the most sense to you. Go with a little speed, get a little dynamic work in, or go super slow. That'll all just depend on what you're feeling this morning. Five seconds left. And time. Nicely done. Okay, grab your TheraBand. Now we're going to take the TheraBand. It's going to be 30 seconds one leg, 30 seconds the other. You're going to drop it down like a little U shape. Place one foot into the bottom of that U. And then we're going to go opposite hand. So if it's your left foot on the thing, you're going to hold on with your right hand to both ends. Stagger your stance. Choke up on your band. It's going to be a deadlift, slightly cross-bodied with a little pulse in the middle. So you're going to go down, come halfway up, and then come all the way up. Go down, halfway up, and then all the way up. Cross-body deadlift. Find that nice pace of work. We got 30 seconds on this side. Stagger your stance, or if stagger stance is just not giving you enough challenge, go for a little single leg, pick that toe up off the ground. I'd rather you stay balanced and find the work. So if you're taking your toe off the ground and it throws you so off that you don't get the work in, keep your toe on the ground, stagger your stance. You've got it. Nice job. All right, when you're ready, the next time you come up, step that foot out of your U shape, step your other foot in, retransfer your grip, stagger your stance, and away we go. Choke up on that TheraBand, deadlift with a halfway pulse, and then come all the way up. Nice job. And time. Awesome. Okay, unloop that TheraBand from around your foot. We're coming up into a little bit of single leg work. So we're going to take our TheraBand. We're going to do a little shoulder rotation with a W lift. So you're going to get a good bit of tension, keeping that nice 90-degree bend with the elbows. Keep a close, tight position here. Pull out a little bit, lift up, lower down, rotate back in. Rotate out, lift up, lower down, rotate back in. Now you know what your upper body's doing, so that means we got to stand on one single leg. We'll switch our foot at the 30-second mark, but the work will stay the same. Rotate out, lift up, lower down, rotate in. Nice job. If your balance is off this morning, keep a toe on the ground. Still want to challenge that standing single leg balance. So keep the toe on the ground, but let most of the work be coming out of your standing leg. All right, when you're ready, switch your foot, but everything else stays the same. And time. Woo, nice job. Okay, set that TheraBand down. Shrug out your shoulders just for a second. Last bit of work here is going to be, we're going to push our fingertips into our palm. We're going to keep that straightforward palm and a little stretch in the fingers. Once you got your hand in position, that's going to stay steady, but we're going to add a little work of the head. So you're going to lift and nod your head up, turn your head to the side, lift and nod your head up, turn your head to the side. So we're turning our head away from the hand that's getting stretched. We've got 30 seconds on this side. Think of it as sort of a fluid work. So keep that little tension on your arm, nod up and turn, nod up and turn. So you're going to keep that movement happening in a nice, gentle, fluid way. It doesn't need to be extreme. And now see if you can start to get your breath coming back in and out through your nose. All right, when you're ready, switch your hand, little press into that palm, and now we're going to turn our head and look away from that hand. Nod your chin up, turn your head to the side. And time. Beautiful. Release that. Give your wrists a little shake. Grab your theraband, and we're going to just take a little shoulder over stretch. So bring that theraband behind your back with a good, comfortable distance. Get a little bit of freedom to move your arms away from the back of the body. And then once you've got that good, comfortable distance, we're going to take it into a little fold. Bend your knees, hinge from your waist, fold over, let your arms fall away from the back of your body. Once you're in that folded position, you're going to take a moment to just notice the arches of your feet. If you have fallen arches, see if you can lift the arches of your feet, keep them lifted, keep this folded over position, keep the arms away from the back of the body. And now you're just going to lift your toes and lower your toes. Nice. One more lift and lower of the toes. We're going to stay in a folded position, but now release your arms down. Set your theraband just off to the side. Once your fingers can find the ground, we're going to do little booty lifts, but with the butt up in the air. So we're going to think about dropping the butt down just a little bit, and then imagine that you're lifting your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. Drop your butt down, lift your sitting bones up, take a couple times up and down. Awesome. One more up and down. And then the next time your knees bend, pull your abdominal muscles in, push with intention down into your feet, roll your way all the way back up to standing. Take a couple little rolls of your shoulders and then toss them in and out because you did do that nice bit of flossing. So we just want to make sure everything feels loosened up and pretty happy. You guys are amazing. Grab your massage balls or your tennis balls if you're sticking around. To start, we're going to start in standing, and we're just going to interlace our fingers. We're going to place that ball cupped right in our palms with the interlace of the fingers, and we're just going to start to press gently into the mound of our hand, into the ball, and just massage around. And then once you've got that going on, we're taking it into a little rock the baby sway. So you're going to roll through the palms, and you're going to bend one knee and then the other. We're thinking about keeping the hip points pretty level. So it's not like we're pushing the hips side to side, we're bending the knees side to side. If you're going in one particular direction with those circles, go the other way. Nice. And now we're going to loosen up the cross in our hands and massage the entire palm. And if you want to keep those little rock the baby sways going, keep rocking. Roll your circles the other way. Nice. And now we're going to take it right down into a tabletop position. So when you're ready, come down onto all fours, come down in any way that makes the most sense. One single ball underneath one single hand. And we're just going to start by putting a slight downward pressure, but keep the hand strong. So we're pushing down slightly into the ball. Keep your hands strong, keep your body braced, keep your legs nice and stable. And then we're going to draw circles, but this is less about massaging. It's massaging up in the shoulder. So we want to feel like a little bit of stability as we push down into the ball, and then draw some circles, but keep the body stable. And you want to feel like it's not really trying to massage the hand, it's trying to move the shoulder. And then once you've got that going on, you've figured it out. Now double tuck your chin. Head is going to stay stable. The whole rest of your body is as stable as it can, and just the shoulder is circling. Nice. One more circle around, and now we're going to take it into that downward pressure into the hand. So you're going to soften up the shoulder and massage into the hand. So you're going to let your fingers be soft, massage around just in one direction. And then when you're ready, go the other way. We're going to come back to this hand, but for right now, pass that ball back over to the other side. Stabilize your table. Keep your hand strong. Draw your circles, but it's just the shoulder that's trying to move. Everything else in the body is staying as stable as it can. So even the fingers are slightly flexed and the hand is not moving too much. If you're circling in one direction, circle the other way. Awesome. And then soften up your hand. And now we're taking it down into that massage action of the hand. So we're circling in one direction. circle the other way. Beautiful. Now pass that ball over to the other hand, but now we're going to put a little body weight off. So we're going to bring our butt a little bit back towards the heels in any way that makes the most sense, just to bring some of that forward weight back a little bit. And then once you're there, now we're going to work the length of the hand. So we're just going to go with that forward and back movement. Your body might move with you if that feels good, but we want to just keep the weight slightly back so you can keep better control in the hand and the wrist. And then if you're here and you really like it, you can sit your butt all the way back, stack your other hand on top, and then you can get a little bit more downward pressure. But that's just depending on like the severity of what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a little bit of a gentle maneuver, if your hands are very tender, you might go without the stacked hand. But if it feels good to put that little extra something on, stack your hands, take it forward and back, take a couple more times through the length of your hand. Awesome. And now we're going to take it into the finger split. So we're going to start with the web of the thumb, place the ball into the web of the thumb, a little bit of downward pressure. Pause there for a moment, take a breath. Nice. And now we're going to go index finger, middle finger. So the index finger, middle finger are going to do the splits here. Not so much downward pressure because we're not trying to injure the skin tissue. We just want to feel a little bit of stress. Take a breath. And then release. Now we're going to go middle finger, ring finger, do the splits on the ball. And release. Ring finger, pinky finger, do the splits on the ball. Take a breath. And release. And now we're going to pass that ball over to the other hand. And now we're working the length of the hand. So we're going in that up and down pattern. So think pinky toe, pinky finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, work up and down the length of the hand. And then again, if it feels good and one side might be different from the other, stack your hand and put a little bit of that top down pressure, but only if that feels good. Nice. One more roll up and down and then take it into the web of the thumb. A slight bit of downward pressure on that web. Take a breath. And now we're going to do index finger, middle finger, splits on the ball. Just enough so you feel that little bit of stretch, but not too much stress in the skin tissue. Take a breath. And release. Middle finger, ring finger, do the splits on the ball. And release. Ring finger, pinky finger, do the splits on the ball. And release. Nice. And now you're going to just come down onto palm facing up, right forearm onto the ball. You're going to go for middle. So we're going to look for that meatiest, thickest part of the muscle of the forearm. Place the ball on that spot, stack your other hand on top, and then we're just going to open and close the working hand. So the arm that's on the ball, that's the hand that's going to do the work. You get that downward pressure on that muscle tissue, and then just open and close your fingers. Beautiful. One more little open and close, and then just do a couple little micro glides. So maybe moving a centimeter up and a centimeter down. And then see if you can just take a couple of bigger glides, just moving across as much of the surface of the forearm as you can. Awesome. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So you're going to go palm facing up, middle of that forearm on the ball, downward pressure with your other hand, and then open and close your fingers. Also notice here, if you're doing this work and you started clenching your jaw, can you keep your mouth closed, relax your jaw, and breathe in and out through your nose? Okay, now relax that work of the fingers, opening, closing, and do little micro rolls. So a centimeter up, a centimeter down. Same thing here. Notice, did you pick up tension in your jaw? Can you relax your jaw and then see how it feels to move up and down with it, just a little bit more range of motion? Beautiful. One more up and down. And then we're going to pick up that ball, placing it between the back of your thigh and your calf. You'll relax your toes. You're going to sit back, and it may take a second to just find a good placement for it. So to a point where you feel a little bit of tension in the calf muscle and in the back of the thigh. And then once you're there, just kind of settle your butt back, come into any soft position that you can rearrange. That might be a little bit more upright. It might be a little bit more like a semi-tabletop position. It might feel like elbows and forearms or almost like a whole child's pose position. So go where you feel the best. And then once you're there, just see if you can relax the muscles in the back of your thigh, relax your calf muscles, and let your butt get as heavy as it can. Take one more breath. All right, and then when you're ready, lift up, take that ball, pass it over to the other side. One placement might feel slightly different than the other. Don't worry about that. Just make sure it feels like a comfortable place you can breathe in. So place that ball where you think it might feel good, and then set your butt back and then find that happy position with the upper body, whether that's elbows and forearms, child's pose, semi-table, upright position, totally up to you. Once you've got your body arranged, soften the muscles in the back of your thigh, soften the muscles in your calf. Awesome. Take one more breath. Lift up nice and slow. And now we're going to pick up that ball, pass it back over to the right side, but now we're going to go under the shin. So you're going to find the muscle that runs along the outside of the shin. The ball has a smaller surface range compared to like our foam roller. So sometimes it's just a little bit about moving with the ball a little bit more. So we're going to roll up and down that muscle of the shin, just a nice bit of gentle pressure. This one definitely does not need to be extreme in order for you to find really nice work. As you go up and down that muscle line, if you feel any places, especially if you're a runner or if you have a tendency towards shin splints, if you go along this line and you feel any places that are like a little knot or a little extra space of tension, you might choose to pause on that place for a minute or go really slow across that point and then keep moving. Beautiful. One more up and down, and then we're going to pass it over to the other legs. We're going to stay on the muscle along the outside of the shin. So the muscle to the left, place it underneath, and then start to find that little bit of a glide, move up and down. Does not need to be extreme to find good work here. Same thing on this side though. If you go along and you're finding any points that are a little bit tender or want a little bit of an extra moment, feel free to pause on them or go really slow past them and then glide along. Awesome. One more glide up and down. And then we're going to flip around onto our seated position and take the ball with so that we can place it underneath one glute. Now, if you have your double netted balls or if you have the bigger alpha ball, that's a great place to use the bigger ball underneath the glutes. I'm just going to stick with my single ball today, but you feel free to grab all the tools that you like or go for the alpha ball or your double balls. The double balls are going to give you a lot more ground coverage. It just changes kind of the way that you roll. So place your ball underneath one side of your glute, and then we're just going to use our hands to help guide, and we're going to go around in any way that makes the most sense. So you might go for a side to side, especially if you went for the netted balls. Side to side might feel like a better way to go. If you're on your alpha ball or just a single ball, circles might be nice too. And then again, as you get here, notice if you hit any tender points and then all of a sudden you clamp down on your jaw and things get really tight in your face, notice those spaces, pause on it for a moment, relax your jaw, take a breath through your nose. And then once you feel like you found that sense of release, then move on to that next place or start to move again. Nice. One more time around, and then you're going to find the most sensational part. So you're going to find a place where it feels like a really good tender point, something that you can breathe into. So if you get there and you're like, woo, all up in your feelings, then stay slightly adjacent to it. But if you find a spot that you could land on, and then you could sit your entire butt down on, like so much so that you could pick your hands up off the ground, and then just let your butt get as heavy as it can, relax your thigh, relax your inner thigh, relax your jaw. Take like 3 really nice deep breaths here, relaxing the muscle tissue as much as you can. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, roll completely off. Take the ball out from underneath your butt. Send your other leg long. And then we're just going to grab that leg and do a little bit of a rock side to side. So like you're holding onto a baby and you're just going to rock that leg a little bit side to side. So think across the midline of your body. Nice. One more little rock side to side, and then put that ball back underneath your butt, but go for the big light circle or big light glide. So you're just going to kind of move around the tissue, but just get as much ground covered as you can without sticking to any specific point. Nice. One more movement around, and then we're going to pass that ball over to the other side. So you're going to put that ball underneath your other glute, lift up, and then start to move. So you might move forward and back, side to side, move in circles, just depending on what tools you're working with here. And one side might feel very different from the other. So take a moment to do that, just little inventory. As you got there, did you pick up tension in your jaw? And if so, you might choose to start by lightening up a little bit so that you can soften back into your breath. All right, now see if you can find a point that feels the most sensational. Stay on that point or slightly adjacent to that point. You're going to find a point that feels sensational and then see, can you sit your butt completely onto that ball enough so that you could lift your hands up? You don't have to lift your hands up, but just enough that you could. So we want that much downward pressure if you can stand it. And then once you're there, relax your jaw, breathe in and out through your nose, soften your shoulders, soften your armpits even. Take one more breath. Cool. And then roll off just enough so you can move the ball out from underneath you. And then we're going to do that little rock the baby. So grab the knee, grab the heel, externally rotate the leg and rock it a little side to side. Beautiful. One more little rock side to side, and then we're going to put that ball back underneath, but now we're going to go for that light maneuver. So you're going to lift up, use your hands and legs to support, roll around and just get as much ground covered as you can. Awesome. One more roll around and then come off the ball. We're going to come down into the shoulder blade. We're going to go one shoulder blade for a few and then the other shoulder blade. Now, if you're working with your double netted balls, you can put it in between the space of the shoulder blades, but we're going to just work one arm a little bit and then we'll work the other side. So whether you're going single ball or double balls, place it up in that groove. Think where the shoulder blade is. We want to be in the muscle tissue between the spine and the shoulder blade. So that's where we're shooting for. Come down onto your back. Take a moment just to get on the ball and notice how that feels. Take a breath. Once you're here, before we even move the arm, we're going to take little micro turns of the head side to side. So we're not going to shoot for full range of motion, but you're just going to turn your head a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. And then there, you're already probably going to notice a considerable change in the work that's happening in that space between the shoulder blade and your spine. One more turn of the head side to side, and then head's going to come to center. And now we're going to draw circles with the elbow. So we're going to circle around in one direction. Circle around the other way. And now we're going to bring that arm out into cactus or goalpost position. Your arm might not touch the ground. Don't worry about that, but get your arm in that cactus or goalpost position and then turn your head away from that arm as far as you can. Take a breath. Nice. Bring your head back to center. Bring your arm back in. We're going to move the ball up. So we're going to just go up a little bit higher, but we're going to stay on the right side. Find a nice point. Maybe move up about 3 inches or so. So we're not in the top medius part of the shoulder, but moving on up a bit. And then once you're there, relax your arm. Turn your head a little bit side to side, just a little micro turn of the head. One more turn of the head side to side, and then head comes to center. Draw circles with your elbow. Draw circles the other way. Arm is going to come into cactus or goalpost position. And this time we're going to turn our head and look towards that hand. So look towards the hand that's in cactus or goalpost position and take a breath there. Nice. And then when you're ready, lift it up, bring it back in. And now we're going to move that ball up one last time. So we're going to get up as high up into the shoulder as you can. So we want to stay in that meaty part of the shoulder. So get up as high as you can before it comes over the top of the shoulder. And then once you're there, pause for a moment, take a breath, add those little turns of your head side to side. One more turn of the head side to side, and then head in center or head in neutral position. Draw circles with your elbow. Draw your elbow circles the other way. Arm is going to come out to cactus or goalpost position, and now we're going to turn the head side to side. So you're going to look to the left and look to the right with as much range of motion as you can find. Beautiful. One more turn of the head side to side. And now we're going to switch over to the other side. So if you were working with the netted balls, you're just going to move it on down. If you were working with single ball, you're going to move it back down. So we're going to move over to the left, low part of the shoulder blade. So shoulder blade in that space between the shoulder blade and the spine, lowest position that you can find. Come down onto your back, pause for a moment, take a breath. And then you're going to start to turn your head side to side, little micro turns. It doesn't need to be full range of motion. You might feel it right away. One more turn of the head side to side, and then head's going to come to center. Draw circles with your elbow. Draw your circles the other way. Arm is going to come into that cactus or goalpost position. Turn your head away from the arm and then pause and take a breath. Nice. Bring your head back to center, release your arm, and now we're going to move that ball on up. So we're going to move up about 2 inches or so, still staying in that groove between the shoulder blade and the spine. So we want to stay in the muscle tissue, not on any bony prominences. Once you've got your way there, micro turn your head side to side. One more micro turn of the head side to side, and then start to take your elbow, draw it in circles, circle in one direction. Circle the other way. Awesome. And now arm is going to come into cactus or goalpost position, but now we're going to look towards that hand. Especially when we do this massage work, you want to use your breath to help you find that extra work. So we're always going to think about breathing into the rib cage, nice deep diaphragmatic breathing. So we want to feel like our rib cage is an umbrella always when we're doing this work. All right, bring your head back in, release that arm. And now we're going to move on up. So we're going to get a little bit higher up into the shoulder, get yourself there in any way that makes the most sense. And then pause for a moment, take a breath. Turn your head from side to side. As much range of motion as you can find in your head turn. Notice if you're clenching your jaw. All right, head's going to come to center, and we're going to draw circles with the elbow. Draw your circles the other way. Arm is going to come out into that cactus or goalpost position, and now we're going to turn the head side to side with as much range of motion as you can find. Beautiful. One more turn of the head side to side. Head's going to come back to center. Release that arm. Take a moment to just pause with the ball out from underneath both shoulder blades with your head on the ground. Take a breath and just notice. And now we're going to take the ball underneath the right side of the back of the head. So we're going to think occipital ridge. So we're going to think about where that ridge of the skull is. Stay slightly off to the right. So my head is going to be slightly turned to the right. And I'm going to use my hand to hold my ball in place. If you're using your netted balls, then you might be able to keep them there with a little bit more security without your hand. And then once you're there, you're just going to find a nice little point that feels good. And then turn your head a little bit side to side. And then maybe nod your head up and down. And then maybe draw little micro circles in one direction. And then maybe draw those circles the other way. Lift your head up, remove the ball out from underneath your head. Come to center, pause for a moment, and just notice how one side feels a little different from the other. And now we're going to pass that ball over to the left side. So we're on that occipital ridge. We're on the ridge of the skull, slightly off to the left. So my head is slightly turned to the left, and then turn your head a little side to side. Nod your head up and down. Do little micro circles, circle in one direction. Little micro circles, circle the other way. And then release that ball from underneath your head, lower your head, pause for a moment, take a breath. All right, and then we're going to come up into a seated position. So maybe crisscross applesauce or Sukhasana for my yoga friends, or any other seat that feels good. We just want to have access to the jaw and the cheekbones. So not cheekbones, just the jawbone, really, where the cheek and the ear meet. So come up to your seated position, and then you're going to start with that glide from the chin to the ear. So whether you move your head or whether you move the ball, that's going to be totally up to you. The next time you come up to where the jaw meets the ear, a little in pressure with that palm, and then you're just going to open and close your mouth. One more open and close of the mouth, and then you're going to do the little doorknob turn. So you're going to change your hand position possibly, and then just twist and turn just a little bit. We want to feel like the skin and connective tissue is getting snagged on the ball just a little bit. So it's going to feel like the skin is kind of moving with you. Nice. One more little doorknob turn, and then take it behind the ear, draw little tiny micro circles, and then we're going to drag down. So you're going to feel like the skin is kind of tugging a little bit. We want that. You're going to push in at the back of the ear and drag down the side of the neck. Push in at the back of the ear, drag down the side of the neck. Push in at the back of your ear, drag down the side of the neck, and then we're going to pass that ball over to the other hand, and we're going to work chin to ear. So you're just going to move up and down. Either you turn your head or you move your hand. That's just whatever is the easier way for you to find the work. Nice. The next time you come up to where the jaw meets the ear, stay there, put a little bit of inward pressure and open and close your mouth. One more little open and close, and then maybe you're changing your grip and you're just doing that little doorknob turn. One more little doorknob turn, and then we're going to move to the back side of the ear. Press in, drag down, press in, drag down, press in, drag down, Nice. And then take a second to do just like a little tick tock of the head side to side, just to kind of move any of those muscles, shrug out your shoulders, shake it all out. And now we're going to find our way up to standing and finish with our feet. So leave your ball down on the ground and we're going to go middle of the foot. So we're going to think about where the ball toe mound is. There's like that little center groove, and that's what we're looking for. Find that middle of the foot. So where the center of the ball of your foot is, right down the center line of your foot, find that point and then lean into it as much as you can. So put as much downward pressure into the ball as you can. Soften your toes, soften the top of your feet, soften your jaw. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose, expand in your rib cage with your breath. Keep that downward pressure, but now we're going to lift and lower the toes just a little bit. It's not going to be full range of motion of the toes, but just find a little bit of movement. Beautiful. One more lift and lower of the toes, and then bring your body weight off. And now we're just going to work the length of the foot. So you're going to go big toe line, second toe line, third toe line, and so on. Just work your way down the foot just a little bit. Beautiful. One more work down the length of the foot, and then bring that foot underneath your heel. Come back into that forward leaning pressure. So to much body weight down into that heel as you can stand. Come back to that expansive breath. Breathe into your rib cage. Take a nice full breath. Awesome. Lift up and off. And now we're going to pass that ball to the other foot. So we're going to go for that center point. So we're going to find that middle point. So think where the ball of your foot is, middle of the ball, right down the middle of the foot. Find that point, place it on, put as much forward body weight as you can. Soften the top of your foot. Breathe into your rib cage. Beautiful. Keep all of that happening, but now add that little lift and lower of the toes, but only if that feels good. If you've got stuff going on with your feet and that creates like too much, you'll always leave the parts off that don't feel good to your body. Beautiful. One more lift and lower of the toes, and then lean your body weight off just enough so that you can start to glide down the length of the foot. Nice. One more glide down the length of the foot, and then ball underneath the heel, enough forward body weight that you get a little bit of downward pressure. And then once you're there, come back again to that breath in your rib cage. Nice. And then when you're ready, lift up and off, place both feet on the ground. Just take a nice big breath, reach up and overhead, little yawning stretch, even reach. And then as you exhale, bend your knees a little bit, hinge from your waist, fold all the way down towards the ground, and then let everything dangle here for a moment. Let your head hang nice and heavy. Let your knees be nice and soft. Let your spine hang nice and heavy, arms nice and heavy. Take a big breath in. Slow breath out. Bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, push with intention down into your feet, roll your way all the way up to standing. Take a couple little rolls and shrugs of your shoulders. You guys are amazing. Nice job today.